sorry, my looking like boys and girls. Like a hey, how are you? Make sure, yeah, windy.
It is. It is indeed.
Good afternoon and welcome to Ollie Campbell Park. You join us as the two teams are about to take to the pitch. Belvedere today in the unfamiliar white gear. Last time I commentated on these two teams, they both turned up in black and white. Belvedere turned their shirts inside out, which made commentary very interesting indeed. This is a AIL League, Division 1, the penultimate round, and today I'm joined in the commentary box by Catherine Dane. Catherine, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, nice to be here.
Well, it's a windy, blustery day.
Windy day for it, but it's dry and it's sunny, and yeah, I think it's going to be a good day for rugby.
Well, if the breeze was to give up a bit, then it certainly would be a lovely day for running rugby. But with the breeze this hard, one suspects there'll be a lot of kicking from one side in the first half and the other side in the second half.
I think so, but I think from last week, Belvo will be looking to keeping the ball in hand and trying to spin the ball wide if they can.
Yep, it's certainly a day, and a few changes to the Belvedere side that played last week. I see Emma Tilley has moved from the wing to full back, and that change has been allowed because only Delney has gone in at number 10, Gemma Farrell, not with us today. Gemma, well, she had 95 points for the season, and no doubt she'll be looking to push on past the 100, but not today.
Not today. No. I think she's in another final up north today.
Busy time for her. Well, we have our ref mic'd up today. It will make a big difference for us, knowing what's happening, what decisions are being made, and when time goes on and off. We have beautiful weather at the moment. If the wind was to drop away, Ballincollig now taking to the field, and they'll be playing in the black and pink from left to right at the moment. And Belvedere playing, captained by Leslie Ring, playing from right to left. Captain's being called in by the officials. And they'll be having a small chat there. Now, that having been said, obviously time to lay down the law at the start.
It must be tricky for the players to hear the referee there at the minute. Took them a while to register he was calling for them.
Well, we can hear him better than the players can. We'll see. So there you go. The referee has been let down by an assistant referee, an AR, and so he's going to continue on. A bit more responsibility for the referee without the assistance of an assistant. So Belvedere will be to kick off. They'll be kicking off from, as I say, right to left, wearing the unfamiliar all-white gear. This is a team that look like finishing third in this league. They still have an outside chance of overtaking, not UL Bows, but certainly overtaking Railway. Railway playing Bows today. That'll be a tough game for Railway and a chance for Belvedere to get back into the hunt for that other final place. Ballincollig currently down in 6th. They're on the same number of points as Suetonians, who are in 5th. But then a bit of a gap to Blackrock in 4th. No semi-finals this year, of course, just straight through to a final. UL Bows look like they've got there already. So, Anya Donnelly gets us underway with a kick just down into the Ballincollig 22. It's been allowed to bounce a few times before finally being picked up. Trying to run it out from there. Gets just to the edge of the 22, still inside. Ballincollig playing against this stiff breeze in this first half. Belvedere will be keen to make the most of it. And they're certainly putting the pressure on at the start, making it very difficult for Ballincollig to clear their lines. All coming across the back line in front of the posts. And it's a high tackle. And the referee's straight in on that. First penalty of the game against Belvedere. And Ballincollig decide to run it out. Difficult to find touch from the middle of the pitch against this wind, and possibly the idea of running it, if nothing else, to get closer to the touchline for the kick. Well, here we are in the first minute. And already the referee having a word with Leslie Ring, and Belvedere giving away penalties with 2 high tackles.
I think off the back of last weekend, Old Belvedere would be keen to try and keep those tackles down and keep their penalty count down. In the past, the disciplines let them down. So,
Yep, perfect, thank you.
Well, it certainly was the case last week.
Mark up here.
Proportion of those penalties given away, I think about 7 by each side last week. And both sides will be looking for their discipline to be a bit tighter than that this week.
Yeah, okay.
So this Ballincollig throw in from just outside the 22. Full line out from both sides. Very difficult to get the throw in accurately. And Belvedere have stolen it. And immediately, only a Mangle, it is, taking it up. Trying to break the gain line. Back to the forwards again. Nice handling between the two props. As Hannah Wilson takes it well into the 22. Comes across the back line. Looking for the gaps, and there could be one. Oh, the tackle not quite made, allowing her to make another couple of yards. Now back to the open side. It's good hands. Cara Mulcahy it is. Doing good work there, ensuring quick ball for Belvedere. We might have Ballincollig stretched on the outside here. One more pass. She can't quite get it away. Bridget Tuig getting in the tackle. This is good pressure from Belvedere. Pushing through, 5 metres out. Rock goes to ground. There's a lady driving up again. Trusting the forwards to take it up. Trying to drag in the defence. Ballincollig desperately trying to get outside. And again. Oh, the pass, the vital pass again. Just going to ground, and that's unfortunate. And that's a knock on, and it will give Ballincollig a chance to release some of the pressure. Good start for Belvedere.
Great start with the wind at their backs. I'm glad to see them using their hands and spreading the ball wide there after a few big, heavy phases in the forwards. Nice to get the backs on the ball. Really composed defence from Ballincollig there. They didn't really look under pressure.
Well, it was good defence from Ballincollig. They got enough bodies out there. Squash any chance of getting round the corner.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, they filled the field really well.
Well, I think that's the arrival of an assistant referee.
Okay, sorry.
Referee will be delighted with that. There's one going out to the far side as well. He's brought his own flag. That's always good to see.
Crunch! Bind! Set!
An important moment. First scrum of the game. Belvedere looking to push some power through, but Ballincollig saying absolutely solid. Run straight back up the 10 channel.
Use it!
Ballincollig looking just to clear their lines, and they've managed that, but the wind has brought that ball back in field. Emma Tilley, leading try scorer for Belvedere, and in fact only one off. Top try scorer in this tournament. Belvedere doing well, retaining the ball, making it available, making yards. Forwards again. Get back to within 5 metres.
Sorry.
Clodagh Dunn with the loose pass. It's almost a reset. Well played from Ballincollig. They've stolen that one. Katie Lady it was who coughed it up, and that gives Ballincollig a chance to clear the ball a long way downfield.
Great kick from the 9.
Seeing the space there. Loads of grass. Belvedere find themselves back in their own half for the first time, really, this game. Too easily, they've been allowed to make it back into the Ballincollig half with just a couple of passes. The chase for the kick, not really coming up as a line, and just allowing Belvedere to step back up to halfway. Clodagh Dunn it is, making 10, 15, 20. She's sprinting in, taking on the winger, and she has scored from the halfway line, and that is a super try for Belvedere. And Ballincollig will be feeling very disappointed that they let that one in.
Absolutely. After such a good clearance kick from the 9 to win some gain line territory, it was just per kick chase in the end and a few holes, and Clodagh Dunn took her chance.
Well, she picked up the ball on the halfway line, shrugged off a couple of would-be tacklers, and suddenly found the open fields of Ollie Campbell Park in front of her. And she touched down just in front of the posts, and a first try for Belvedere, and that's a perfect start for them.
Unfamiliar territory for her to be finding that much open space, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure after the game, back in the bar, the distance covered will slowly be increasing during the night. And she'll be regaling her teammates with tales of 50, 60, 70-yard runs, sprints, I think she'll call them.
Absolutely, absolutely. That story will grow legs, no doubt.
Time is ticking.
Well, the ball fell off the tee. The referee reminded Miss Donnelly that there was, in fact, a clock ticking on the kick. So quite calmly, she just picked it up and drop kicked it over. And that's 7-0 to Belvedere.
Doesn't matter whether it's a drop kick or...
And here we see, brushing past a couple of tackles through the scrum half. And the impressive thing here is, it's the right winger that she's outpacing to get to the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Just that little bit of momentum. They seem to be getting a lot of front foot ball off the tip-on pass on that forward pack. So, yeah, they seem to be targeting that outer defender.
Excellent start for Belvedere in this, their final home game of the league season. Mr. Hayden it is who picks that one up on the first bounce. Belvedere again pushing their way forward. Anya Rutley taking it up to the 10-metre line. And now Belvedere taking advantage of the wind and kicking in behind. Fullback nicely picking up, making some ground. Needed the support and got it. But this kick chase from Belvedere much better than the Ballincollig one a couple of minutes ago.
Yes, they appear to be well drilled, filling the field there. Not really giving them much room for a manoeuvre.
Coming up as a line makes such a difference. It doesn't allow you just to step one at a time and find the gap.
Absolutely. They've been certainly working on that in training, is building those defensive connections, especially off the back of those tries against Railway last week. Kind of the loose connections in counter-attack where Railway are so strong and dominant.
It's that defeat to Railway last week, pretty much putting all but paid to Belvedere's hopes of making the final. It will need results to go their way. One of those results, of course, will be the Railway against UL Bowes game today. But first of all, Belvedere have to win their games. And they're certainly on the right path now against Ballincollig here. Ballincollig fighting their way up to halfway. Loose pass goes out to the left. It's well picked up. Gillian Coombs, and she gets the ball away. And that allows Ballincollig to make some more room down the left wing. And the referee, that sounded like a safety ring, a whistle.
I think so, yeah. It's unfortunate because they actually, that loose ball worked in their favour, and they seem to identify that Belvo were a little bit weak and a little bit short on the edge, so I hope she's okay.
Yes, as you say, Ballincollig with some momentum there, and unfortunately coming to a halt because of player safety. But of course, player safety is the paramount consideration.
Scrum. Yeah, scrum to pick. You're in possession. There's no foul play there. Just legs got caught underneath.
Well, there we go. Perfect explanation from the referee. No foul play at all. The game will restart with a scrum to Ballincollig. And again, the referee explaining that the first thing he was considering was player safety and health.
I've been impressed by Ballincollig's patience. They're against the wind here, and they probably have a lot less possession than Old Belvedere this opening 10 minutes.
Just
but
on the line, yeah.
They've looked calm and been comfortable on the ball as well.
So many times you see sides where possession seems to be almost a handicap. Plenty of sides that you watch over the years where anytime they get the ball, I mean, 70s was a perfect time for 10-man rugby. Just hoof it down the field and then apply pressure. And that was rugby for a large number of years. The rules now, of course, have been amended and the game has changed dramatically. But again, still that opportunity, as Belvedere showed, defence can be sometimes the best form of attack.
Good short way then.
Well, the player's back on her feet, being escorted to the sideline. And that'll be the first substitution of the game. And that will see Katie O'Sullivan coming on. An early introduction for her. Most unfortunate for the injured player, really hobbling quite badly there at the sideline.
We might need it.
Just easing her down to the ground there over the hoardings, not in a good way.
She doesn't look comfortable.
Hold.
Game goes on around her. Temptation sometimes just to leap to your feet and grab the ball now. Super scrum from Belvedere. Ballincollig do well to get it out of the back and then push it across the back line. Pass out of the tackle could give some space, but the loose pass has meant that Belvedere have picked it up. Emma Chilly again. Well, this new role at 15 may in fact suit her perfectly. Allow her to get onto the ball far more often than she does when she's on the wing. The only disadvantage being, of course, you won't get the same space that sometimes she gets on the wing. It's Belvedere playing beautifully at the moment. Good hands.
Good hands. Nice fast ruck ball as well. Big improvement on last week. And spreading the ball wide.
Yes, the referee's got that exactly right. That one did go forward. It was unfortunate. Just sliding forward, perhaps on the wind, but it looked like it was forward coming out of the hands. Scrum down to Ballincollig. And as we're coming towards the end of the first quarter of this game, you can see both sides are sort of settling into the game now. The helter-skelter first 3 minutes. Now, both sides sort of making their mark. Of course, still plenty of rugby to be played this season. Six Nations still continuing. Next Saturday sees Ireland taking on Wales at 4:45. That one's up north, isn't it? Or down south?
Yeah.
Down in Cork. What used to be Musgrave Park, Independent Park, now Virgin Media Park, I suspect. That's artificial as well, isn't it, down there? Could be Ireland's best chance of a win in this year's championship. Following game will be away to England, and that's always a tough game in the women's rugby.
Tough game in Twickenham as well. It'll be a huge venue to go to.
The English Red Roses have played a fair few of their games in Doncaster, and that's a lovely little ground, and big difference to go to Twickenham for a game.
That's right, yeah. I think the first time I played England was in Doncaster, and then the second time away was in Leicester. Who Leinster are playing tonight, so
Welford Road.
great place to go to.
Let's go.
It's not really, it's Leicester.
Yeah, I know, it's a horrible place.
Turn over, turn. Use it.
Play continues now. Belvedere driving up the side of the set play, and the ball's been lost. Ballincollig very quickly onto it, but unfortunately, the speed of the pass upsetting their own players. Knocked on. It'll be a scrum down. Scrum down to Pink. Not able to take advantage of the Belvedere knock on.
6, just making sure we're staying bound here, okay? And 9, just making sure both feet behind the ball, okay?
Of course, the one bit of good news amongst the Irish team is the return of Clodagh Maloney.
Oh yeah, Cleena, yeah, big return after 2 years.
I think that's great news.
Yeah, absolutely. Can only be a positive. The level of experience that she brings to the squad will be huge. They're a very young, developing side, so
They could do with some experience in it.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a great dummy from the scrum half. Unfortunately, the pass is just intercepted, luckily for Belvedere, but that was a superb piece of play. Gemma Lane it was, found the gap, threw a dummy that was bought by everybody at the ground, and found a lovely gap. Unfortunately, her pass went astray, and now Donnelly it is who finds turf behind the Ballincollig full-back, and that kick has gone a good 45 metres further than you'd expect, and tackled in possession. She could only be inches away from the line. Again, the kick chase from Belvedere proving the difference, giving Belvedere this ball and mere metres away from the Ballincollig line. Going to the forwards again. Mr. Hayden. Hannah Wilson next. They're taking turns, driving up forwards, trying to drag in the defence and now go wider. And the pass, unfortunately, just letting Belvedere down, but they're still in with a chance. Ball goes out to the wing. She beats 2, 3, running back towards the line. And she's held up over the line. Super little run, but really should have got it down earlier than she tried.
Absolutely. Yeah, they were in for a real chance there. I wonder if she had room to beat them on the outside. It just seemed like she had a lot of work to do when she stepped back in and beat 2 or 3 defenders.
Time off called by the ref. Once again, our own clock on screen will continue to run. You can see the difference between the clock on the screen and the clock on the scoreboard. About 5 minutes there at the moment in the difference. And of course, neither of them probably match what the referee says anyway. But it's another player down, and this time it's Alex Kunen. She's receiving attention. And then I suspect it'll be a goal line dropout. Words, dyslexic words.
I'm still getting used to them as well, don't worry.
English.
Make sure behind the kicker. Behind the kicker.
Yeah, she had a lot of work to do there, stepping back inside. I wonder if she could have used that 5-meter channel and backed her pace.
Well, the dropout comes out straight to the Belvedere player who runs into a crowd. Rutley it is, driving forwards. Well, I was going to say,
Ball wasn't out.
A, the ball wasn't out, and B, if you wanted to show somebody the definition of coming in at the side, that seemed to be it.
Textbook.
Leslie Ring, captain, playing at 8 today. Again, Wilson driving forward again, taking a few defenders with her. And the referee gets round, checks that the ball has been grounded, and it's a second try for Belvedere. Oh, it's just pressure, really.
Huge, yeah. A lot of patience there from Old Belvedere. They didn't rush anything. Took their time, getting it through the forwards pods, and it paid off.
Yes, this exertion of pressure, very good from Belvedere, and it results in a second try. Score moving out to 12-0. On this occasion, we can actually say that our scoreboard's more accurate.
Sorry.
They must have heard you.
Donnelly it is with the kick. Again, taking over all facets of out-half play from Gemma Farrell today. And the applause outside tells you that that's successful. Here you can see Hannah Wilson. Well, she took a few on. Helped by Clodagh Dunn. And then just driving through, I think it's Mulcahy.
Yeah.
And then the referee comes in, makes sure of the grounding. And a second try. And the score has moved on to 14 to Belvedere. Ballincollig yet to trouble the scorers.
Mulcahy had an extra bit of oomph in that carry. She had 1 or 2 latchers on behind, which certainly helped.
Jeff, are you ready?
Wind, if anything, picking up a bit now. Drop off goes about 15 metres, but all it allows is Nunstead to go down the sideline. Well, that's just sort of try that Ballincollig really will be disappointed with when they watch that back. Kick off taken cleanly, and then just run straight back. And a third try for Belvedere, just one short of that try bonus now. And that was the softest of tries really to concede.
Absolutely, yeah. She just pinned the ears back and went for it. Winded her back. Reminded me of the sevens there. I think Minona does play a little bit of sevens in her spare time, so yeah, she was flexing that muscle there for sure.
Yes, the sevens circuit must be enjoyable these days. Hong Kong today.
That's right. I think the men's sevens were in the semi-finals.
They certainly reached the semi-finals. Unfortunately, I didn't stick around to watch the semi-final.
Nor did I.
There you have it. And as you say, the wind at her back. And the kick from Donnelly goes wide on this occasion, and the score will remain 19-0 to Belvedere as we enter into the second quarter of the game. It's almost like the rest of the Belvedere team didn't move. She just ran, scored, and now they're waiting for the kickoff again.
I'd say the tight forwards were delighted with that. Just kind of stood back and admired her run.
And you when you're ready, Bob, yeah.
So Alison Kelly it will be to kick off again. And on this occasion, not taken cleanly. Knock on for Belvedere. Ballincollig will be relieved to see that, but in the meantime, they're taking the most they can of the advantage. Free play for them, knowing that they had the scrum down anyway.
Advantage over for the knock-on!
Well, just when you didn't want to pass to you at half feet, as the referee calls advantage over.
A lot of line speed from Old Belvedere here.
If one was being hypercritical, one might say that half of them weren't behind the back foot. They're so eager to get up in defence. But since those first early high tackles from Belvedere, their discipline has been a lot better. I say that and immediately.
Yeah.
Knock on, Belvedere ball. Ballincollig's.
Going to be a white scrub.
Well, this seems to be about the most time that they spent in the Belvedere half so far this first half. It's easy enough to understand with the wind this strong. You're playing with it behind your back. Only takes one kick to make 60, 70 yards.
Yeah, one kick is very punishing in these conditions. So, yeah, I think this might be their second opportunity in Old Belvedere's half. The Old Belvedere scrum's been very strong so far. They had a good performance in the pack last week against Railway.
Yes, they made Railway sort of use tactics other than set plays, and it worked out well for Railway on that occasion. Nice pick up and return. A bit of foot tennis, and this one just slides off the side of the boot, goes into touch. It'll be a Ballincollig throw inside the Belvedere 10-metre line.
Yeah.
Not a great outcome from that set piece for Old Belvedere. They haven't really made anything on that.
Full. Six.
Sometimes can be difficult when you do go up by 2 or 3 scores to keep that intensity up there. Really have to keep playing as if it's still 0-0, really.
Backwards.
Referee deciding the ball went backwards as opposed to not straight. And it's been dropped.
The knock-on advantage.
And immediately Belvedere looking to get the ball out and along the back line. Referee with clear instructions, giving Belvedere the chance to drive on again. Rightly it is. Back out to the forwards again, and this time Donnelly takes it. Looking for support, finding it outside. Oh, and another ball that's just gone to ground.
Off the hands first, okay? Forward off hands first anyway.
The referee getting that one absolutely spot on. Ballincollig's defence, well, paying off on this occasion.
Great intent to shift the ball wide, but I don't think they're really drawing in the defenders. It's quite easy for Ballincollig to just drift off and fill the space in defence.
Needs somebody in the centre, perhaps, just to take it up straight. Just once in a while. But as you say, at the moment, it seems to be that the intent is to get the ball out to the winger without drawing the players inside.
Yeah. Draw and give would certainly help Old Belvedere's case here.
Well, another injury on the Ballincollig side, another player down. Well, the trainer's gone out. It may be just laces. Gives the physio a chance to go and stand on the other side of the pitch for a while. Emma Tilley has taken up her position. So it's just outside the outside centre in the defensive line for Belvedere. And the Belvedere front row, well, they can pat themselves on the back for that. That's good work. And they've earned the scrum penalty. And this will give them a chance to put it down the line.
They'll take a lot of confidence from that
Where they
scrum.
were.
They will indeed. Dominance in the scrum, so much about the game of rugby. Especially on a windy day like this, when you're going to see a lot of accidental offsides, knock-ons, everything that results in scrums. It's so important that you have a scrum that can
Ball's outside if you get a pink, okay?
produce those sorts of dominant penalty-earning scrums.
The forwards are certainly earning their keep this first half. The backs will be keen to try and score the extras and maybe not
Your receiver, yeah?
choke up the ball
Your
so quick.
receiver, yeah?
Yeah, you get the feeling that the first half is probably going to be all about the forwards, and it will be the second half where the backs are looking to run it, because they won't be kicking
backwards.
certainly with into this wind. Untidy, sloppy play at the back of the line out there. But this is much better, making the ball available. Rutley setting it down perfectly. Now it comes across the back line. It's a bit of a loose pass. But, just a knock on. The referee decides. Just as Belvedere thought they got round the corner.
Told you. Yeah.
Another knock on. It's just slowing Old Belvedere's attack and momentum.
But it is also giving the Ballincollig defence a breather every so often as well, which I'm sure they could well do with.
Perhaps it's tactical, perhaps it's to get another scrum and maybe get a scrum penalty out of it. You never know.
Yes, that would be... You'd know your scrum was dominant if you were telling your backs, just knock it on, we'll be fine, we'll get a penalty there.
Oh!
Timmerlane putting into this scrum. Well, number 8 does very well to get it out of there. Needed to. The Belvedere scrum was starting to prove its dominance again, but instead it's Ballincollig who managed to get outside their 22. They could really do with a few phases here. It goes big. Oh, an interception. My goodness, Katie Lady with the interception gets her to within 5 meters. Hands off to a fellow prop, Hannah Wilson, and she gets in for the try. And again, another soft try, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes. Great read by Katie Lade and lovely offload in the end to Hannah Wilson. Great work by the forwards again in Old Belvedere.
Well, that's the bonus point try for Belvedere. And here we are with just half an hour gone. Well, seeing the two props combined there, they certainly made the most of the opportunity. Katie Lade it was who took it up to within 5 meters. And, well, when she was trying to make it available, there was only one person she wanted to find, and that was Hannah Wilson. And she galloped in from 7 yards. So the forwards are really galloping in quite well. They're super intercepts. She nearly gets there, just hauled down by Kelly Griffin. But then Hannah Wilson, well, nobody was going to stop her scoring from there.
I have to say I've been really, really impressed with the forwards. I mean, they just had a scrum about a phase ago and dusted themselves off and ran in for an intercept. Really, really good work rate from the Old Belvedere forwards.
Well, the forwards are playing like backs. They're galloping in from yards out. Clodagh done from the halfway line. Hannah Wilson, they'll be comparing.
Yeah,
the different...
Cara Mulcahy, yeah.
This kickoff straight again. Hannah Wilson it is. Oh, sorry, Katie Lade it is.
Yeah.
And what has been very positive here from a spectator's point of view is that Belvedere haven't tried to take just advantage of the wind and just kick for territory the whole time. knowing that their set piece is probably good enough to get the ball back. But they are trying to run it.
Yes.
On this occasion, running out of options. Oh, that is a great kick. 50-22. It was almost a 10-22. It was that good.
It's incredible.
And it took the right turn it needed to, found it the touchline, and that will give Belvedere the throw-in. Just inside the 22.
Simply your ball, yeah? 50-22, yeah?
And we have
Yeah, I've got it, yeah.
another Ballincollig player being looked at by the physio. Just to the right of your pictures there now.
Time off, guys.
There's the player coming back.
Behind you.
Both sides certainly fully committed to this game. It may not be making a huge difference to the league table at the end of the day, but here and now, both sides wanting to perform at their best, wanting to play some good rugby. I understand with the fixtures and now with the Celtic Challenge and everything that they don't have the semi-finals. One of the games they've managed to ditch, I suppose, running out of dates is the semi-finals for the league. But I feel that misses something then.
It really does, yeah. I think there's just there's a big build-up then if there's a semi-final. Unfortunately, they've missed that, and it does feel like the AIL's been kind of cut a little bit short. I do understand there's not enough weekends in the year, but yeah, it does take away from the competition a little bit.
Well, the fact that Belvedere and I think Blackrock as well, both pulled out of the AIL Cup because of calls upon their players by representative sides, which I think is very sad for club rugby.
Yeah, very, very difficult for both teams. I think, I'm not sure exactly, but maybe 20 plus players taken away for international duties. It's really, really hard to have enough depth in your squads to field teams then.
Belvedere more fortunate than most, certainly missing 7 or 8 away with the internationals, and yet still putting out good teams. And it does give opportunities to some of the younger players, the less experienced, to play first team rugby.
Absolutely. And those young girls have definitely taken their opportunities and made it more difficult for the other girls coming back to earn their place.
Yeah, it's great when the internationals come back and sort of like Leinster and Ireland on the men's side. It's great that they're not. They have to play their way back into their club side, even though they're internationals.
Yes, it's not a given anymore, so it's good.
Leslie Ring picking up at the base of the scrum, taking it round, and then looking for support outside. Unfortunately, Belvedere knocking this one on, and Ballincollig will be grateful for the chance to clear their lines. Nice. Nice little shimmy there before finding touch. She saw the tackler, would-be tackler, coming up to her and just stepped inside and then got the ball away. And now it's Belvedere's line out outside the 22. Another ideal attacking position for them.
It really is, but unfortunately with the conditions today, I think that's maybe as far as the exit kicks could have got. Well, Belvedere will be keen to take their opportunities here now as the half comes to a close, because they won't have the wind at their backs for the second half.
Oh.
Not straight. Not straight. Right to the front of the line out. Not straight.
Referee absolutely spot on. Clodagh Dunnett was coming around to the front of the line out, but not straight. Pass to her outside arm. It's a shame because it was a nice move. She certainly looked like she would have had some space.
So let's keep that stability until the ball is in, okay?
Well, they always say, you know, the referee's doing a good job if you don't notice him. And apart from him, with his clear explanations in our ears, he's really just managed the game superbly well.
I think so. It's flowed really, really well. I certainly haven't had any questions about any of his calls. Really good.
Make such a difference to a good game of rugby, having a good official, and we certainly do on this occasion. Started the game without any assistance, so more kudos to him there.
Step to the back foot, thank you.
Ballincollig doing very well to get this ball outside the 22 now, driving up again with the forwards. And then just a loose pass has to be picked up. Shelley O'Driscoll.
Never on the ball. No, it's not. It's putting someone down.
Leading try scorer for Ballincollig. 8 tries this league campaign. And there's a break. Ball thrown out for the replacement, Caitlin Doran. And then Belvedere take the quick line out. Nice dummy throw, makes a couple of yards. And again, Rutley driving. Oh. Really hard working in there.
No.
Belvedere making sure the ball comes back again. She laid on the back of her storming run earlier on. Now wants to try out scrum half. Rutley again. This time is scragged. The referee deciding that she's holding on too long. She was tackled.
That's the problem with those tip-on passes. If you've got clear open space, it's great. But if you get a little bit isolated as that extra forward, and Ballincollig took advantage.
Yeah, Nangle it is, who's down injured at the moment. Just out on the far side of the pitch there, where the referee is. I reckon there's about 8 to 10 minutes left in this first half. As I say, a lot of the play has been down to our left. We don't quite have the possession stats or the territory stats, but if we did, one suspects it would be heavily in favour of Belvedere.
I reckon so. Maybe 80-20 or something. Bit like that Ireland-Italy game last weekend. I think it was 90% possession to Ireland in the first 15 minutes or something.
It's just a shame. Italians, well, again, I was in Parma the first time the Italians beat the Irish, and they really have come up in the world. They're not quite challenging the Englands and the Frances yet, but the Italians, the Irish, the Scots and the Welsh, all, I suggest a couple of years behind the English. The English have been full-time for so long now. The French have been part-time and now have moved to full-time. The Welsh have given out 12 full-time contracts. 12 seems a strange number to me, but you can see how the women's rugby game is progressing, how it's gaining traction, and the fact that you saw such a crowd at the RDS last week. We'll see a good crowd down in Cork next week. The game is definitely growing and getting better. In fact, even this crowd here at a club game is great to see.
Absolutely. There's a lot more momentum behind the women's game, in Ireland especially, and it's only going to grow year on year, exponentially.
It's great now because young players can see that there is a career pathway, and you can, in fact, make... I mean, you might not be buying new Teslas, but you can make a decent living playing rugby.
Yes, absolutely. And whether it be a player or a referee or a coach, you know, it does appear... it's more apparent that there are positions for women in rugby.
And sport in general, I'd say.
Huge.
It really has been the success story of the last decade, is the continuing rise of women's sport. I mean, it's not that long ago, but I remember Mary Decker running a 3,000 metres at the LA Olympics, and 3,000 metres was as far as women ladies were allowed to run.
Oh, okay.
There was no 5,000, no 10,000, no marathon, because you were too delicate for that sort of distance. But attitudes have changed, thank God. And now, as I say, we're starting to see proper professionalism across women's sports, as it should be.
Absolutely. Now we have these women standing on the shoulders of those trailblazers back then.
Yes, history makers in the past. For the first time Ireland won the Grand Slam, Nora Stapleton, the Irish women rugby players appearing on the Late Late Show. That was a big mark, really, of how far they'd come along. Now it's Belvedere still with possession, still with pressure on Ballincollig. You can see Tilly's out on the left wing. She is desperate for this ball to come out to her. It's kicked through on the ground for her to chase.
Lovely kick.
And into her hands, 2 defenders in front of her. Neither one of them could put her down. And finally, the cavalry arrives. But you can see Tilly searching for that try line yet again. Trying to add to a total of 17 tries this season. And there is another try for Belvedere. that takes them into the 30s, and they'll be hoping that that certainly is enough of a cushion for when they're playing in the second half against such a strong wind. And in fact, such is the way of the world. As the afternoon has gone on, the wind is starting to die away now.
Lovely kick by Anya Donnelly there. Nice variety in attack. It's good to see her drop the ball to foot, and nice execution. Lovely bounce for Emma Tilley.
It worked out beautifully, and it's great to see just how the out half Donnelly was reading the game and saw where the space was, put the ball through beautifully. Normally it's Gemma Farrell at 10 for Belvedere, and there aren't many who read a game better than Gemma, but one gets the feeling that Anya is picking up, perhaps learning from Gemma.
Absolutely. They're playing alongside each other.
Just the bounce for a rugby ball, and it popped up beautifully into Tilley's hands. And it was only the arrival of the cavalry that allows her progress to be stopped. And then straight away, well, Katie Lade, she set up the last try for her partner Hannah Wilson. On this occasion, she decided that, no, she wanted that one. And she got that one down. And that's 5 tries to Belvedere. And the score now 31-0 as we come up to the end of the first half. Again, ball being allowed to bounce, but Belvedere tying it up quite nicely. And the forwards again driving just on the short side. Again, driving again, taking on the defenders, sucking in the defence. They're hoping to just make this 4-on-3 on the outside work. Not on this occasion. Rutley it is, driving in. Nice clean ball. Unfortunate pass. Aoife Rutley it is, who then made the tidying up, and such a good job of it. And now Donnelly finally taking advantage of the wind, putting in a lovely kick to take Belvedere back into the Ballincollig half. Well, the referee announcing 30 seconds to go in this half, which shows that, well, the clock on the scoreboard is probably closer than the clock on your screen. We haven't played 4 minutes of extra time, but rather have had 5 minutes of injury time, I would say. But either way, Belvedere will be delighted with the first half. 31-0. Reva Guiden has come on, but I don't know who she's come on for.
Maybe Anya Nangle, maybe? I think she went off injured.
Well, that's an unusual one. Ballincollig doing very well, making yards, making it up towards halfway. Crushing defence from Belvedere again. Really aren't letting Ballincollig get any momentum. Almost another intercept, but a strong tackle, well cleared out. Ballincollig retaining possession. Nice play, Gillian Coombs. Trying to spin the ball wide, just trying to keep possession and find a gap somewhere. It's almost forcing too much out of the ball. Tackle. And again, just the loose pass, allowing Belvedere to pounce, and it comes out on their side, and Ring takes it, hands it on, driven again, making distance, but a knock on from Belvedere, and in fact the referee will decide that that is the end of the first half. So there we go, half-time, 31-0 to Old Belvedere, 5 tries on the board, bit of entertainment for our viewers. And what did you think of that game, that first half then, Catherine?
I think it was the forwards show for the first half, especially on Old Belvedere's side. I was really, really impressed with the tip-ons, the scrums, quick ruck ball. Yeah, they really made life very easy for the backs, but they wanted to score all the tries themselves and take all the glory, and fair play to them.
It's about time they got the chance to take some glory, really. Too many times the backs, the Brill cream, brigade, but on this occasion it's the forwards, and it's not just forwards scoring from 5 metres. We saw one try from the halfway line, another one around the wing, and then we saw the props combining.
Yeah, incredibly impressive.
So we'll just take a minute's break now as the players do the same, and we'll join you again for the second half in just a minute.
Every used car has a story. At Windsor Certified, all ours have a happy ending. Buy used with confidence. Windsor, drive happy.
Well, welcome back to Ollie Campbell Park for the second half of this AIL Division 1 game between Old Belvedere hosting Ballincollig. If you've only just joined us, you missed a stunning first half where the Belvedere forwards, well, they were showing their fitness and their training had paid off as the forwards were running in tries from all over the park. 5 tries in that first half, but this half, Belvedere will find themselves playing against a very strong wind. And there we go, the wind already playing its part as the ball goes loose and is knocked on, and Ballincollig get a good attacking position inside the Belvedere 22.
Things in depth to account for that wind that is going to be just playing havoc with their passing. So I like their intent of spinning it through the hands, but they just might have to adjust.
Gemma Lane about to put into the scrum. The Ballincollig scrum suffered in the first half, and it looks like the prop on the far side is struggling already before the ball goes in, and Belvedere immediately with a good shove, but the ball comes back out on the Ballincollig side, and they have an overlap, and they're going to go in at the corner. Cover defence though, superb from Belvedere, forcing the player into touch. Well, it was a good effort from Ballincollig. They did well to get that ball out of the scrum and then did well with it once they had it.
Very clever 8-9 combo there for Ballincollig. It looks like they recognise that they're going to get it under the cosh for the scrum, so they get it out really quick and nice sharp hands to the edge. Just double tackle from Emma Tilley and Megan Williams there.
Oh.
Well, ball into play. Belvedere have it. It's advantage. There's knock on again. Ballincollig again getting a scrum. Referee will bring it into the 15-yard line, and that will give a good blindside for Ballincollig if they want to try and make the most of that small gap on that side.
Make sure on the engage. There's no chase afterwards. That's hit the hole. Okay. I understand. Yeah.
European Cup rugby today, of course. Leinster will be in action later on tonight. But so far, the Bulls, well, they saw off Lyon, and Exeter saw off Bath. Stormers falling by a point down in Cape Town to La Rochelle. Ronan O'Gara will have enjoyed that victory. In the Challenge Cup. Well, Claremont Auvergne, they beat the Cheesers as Ballincollig now trying to make the most of this ball going out. Oh, cracking tackle. Tilly making a fabulous tackle and needed to because there was an overlap outside her. This time,
all right. Tackler.
Good driving play from Ballincollig, taking it in. They'll do the same again now. Second row forward. Ball comes loose, bounces back on the Belvedere side.
No.
The referee deciding no advantage. This time the scrum inside the 22 will be to Belvedere. Well, the first 3 minutes of this second half has shown just the effect of today's wind. It doesn't seem as windy now in the second half, but even so, Belvedere getting pinned back in their own 22.
Yeah, there's a bit of a breeze on the flags. I can see. It does definitely play a big role, even if it's more mental than anything physical. I think definitely gives teams a bit of confidence to have the wind at your back. It'll be interesting to see how Old Belvedere exit out of their 22 here, because Ballincollig are putting them under a lot of pressure.
This time, Ballincollig scrum putting Belvedere under pressure, and then, well, that was a very loose pass. It was a half pass. There wasn't any direction to it. It was just thrown up and hope that there'd be somebody in support. One of those passes, I suppose, when it comes off, it looks brilliant.
Yes.
A no-look pass, but on this occasion it went to ground and went forward.
Yeah, perhaps Ring was under the impression that she had somebody on her shoulder there. It needed a bit more than a pop.
Scrum a minute at the stretch, yeah?
Well, plenty of scrums in this second half. On that occasion, Ballincollig 8 seem to have the upper hand for the first time today. Again, scrum quite high on that far side. Referee happy enough with it. Lane picks up from the 8's feet. Skip pass. But again, it's the skip pass that wasn't run onto. Kelly it was who had to wait for the ball to arrive to her. the forwards are driving in,
Hands on the ground first, yeah?
looking to go down the blindside lane. She does, takes it on. Edwards scragging the ball carrier, doing enough. This time they have to come open. Again, driving up through the forwards, still on her feet. Tackle completed. And the loose pass again, putting so much pressure on the out half.
No.
Belvedere doing their best to play themselves out of trouble here, and the referee saying a high tackle. It's the first high tackle we've seen since the first couple of minutes. Belvedere running it out of trouble, and nice intercept. Another loose pass, and all the good work Belvedere had done to get up to the 10-metre line, undone with just one loose pass.
There's definitely been a territory swing. Ballincollig probably dominating possession at the moment.
Referee warning the Belvedere players about their offside. He took note and did the right thing. Oh, another loose pass from Leslie Ring, putting nothing but pressure on her own team. Now running out of defence, taking on the Ballincollig outside backs. Rutley it is, who's brought them outside the 22 again. The forwards again looking to drive. Another poor pass results in another knock on and another scrum down to Ballincollig. Belvedere making substitutions galore now as a new front row comes on. This will be Rapley, O'Dowd and Doran coming on, and Wilson, Hayden and Layden coming off. Well, these three have done fabulous work for Belvedere in that first half. They make their way heading to the sideline.
Big cheers for Alice O'Dowd coming off the bench there. I think she's been away for a year or two in the lovely sunny Australia. So good to see her back. Great to get her back on the pitch.
Like the rest of us.
Again, would have been a big miss earlier on in the season for Belvedere. But again, it's given opportunities to others, and we saw today just how well Hannah Wilson's been doing.
Absolutely causing havoc in attack with her carries and offloads.
Ballincollig doing well to get that ball out of the scrum any way possible. Lane it is with another outrageous dummy, but on this occasion, the defenders stayed with her. Brought her to ground. And it's back to the forwards. And again, Lane looking to use that blind side. There's been some success there. Again, the number 8 doing some sterling work. The ball coming out. Again, first receiver being one of the forwards. So they drive it up again. And you see, that's what happens when the line doesn't come up as one. You can sidestep one, and suddenly there's a gap.
They're coming in first, knock it on, okay?
And another knock on from Belvedere.
On the ground, okay?
It's going to be quite frustrating, not only for the players, but for the coaching staff. Again, account has to be taken of the conditions here. Not easy, but they would want to be not conceding quite so many scrums for knock-ons.
Not easy conditions at all. I've been really impressed with Gemma Lane so far for Ballincollig, coping really, really well at the back of those rucks. Old Belvedere put in a lot of pressure on the counter ruck, and it appears that Gemma's using her dummies and her blind side to her advantage.
Another scrum in a fine attacking position for Ballincollig. Back split evenly either side. And this time, Belvedere pushing too early. The referee having nothing to do with that. And they're running it straight away. Oh, a super counter drive. And now on the floor, an old-fashioned foot rush. And Ballincollig haven't coughed up the ball, but you know what? They've gone back 25 metres. That is good pressure from the Belvedere defence, and you can see them lined up there, all eager in the starting blocks to get across. And it finally takes an excellent kick. Well, that is a fabulous kick. It's gone right down into the corner. 50-22. And what a great opportunity this is now for Ballincollig. Just 5 metres out. Great kick.
Huge kick. Absolutely brilliant from the 15. Yeah, winded her back and end over end. Lovely, lovely bounce. Great thinking from Ballincollig.
Emma Connolly, the Ballincollig full back, making more ground with one kick. Didn't have much space to do it in, but got it away. And it just kept running. Shape of a rugby ball. Fabulous kick. And it's put them into this fine attacking position. You can see the effect of the wind on the trees behind. Getting this one into the line out straight is going to be a challenge all of its own. It's down over the line.
Okay. Play back by White. It's going to be 5 metres scrum. Your players knock it back. Okay.
Belvedere getting a hand in at the line out, unfortunately. Slightly untidy, went down over the line. Belvedere touched it down, and so it'll be a Ballincollig scrum just 5 metres from the line. And again, a great opportunity for Ballincollig to finally get onto the board here.
Huge opportunity here.
You can almost see an advanced lane picking up and going down the blind side.
She seems to fancy that blind side.
Well, she's got that pace off the mark. And she can find a gap, and as we saw in the first half, she knows how to throw a dummy. Again, the Belvedere scrum doing great work. Ballincollig having to pick up and drive from the back. Disorganised somewhat. They'll hope to get some shape back onto this now. Retaining possession. Driving on towards the line. Penalty advantage. Free play now for Ballincollig. Down to ground. Driving again. And there we are. The first try for Ballincollig, and well worked. Eventually the pressure paying off for them.
Good patience from Ballincollig there. They didn't do anything fancy, just kept it in the forwards and converted. It would be quite easy for them to get held up over the line. I've seen teams guilty of that in the past, and they took their advantage.
They did indeed, and it gets them onto the board. 5 points. Perhaps the start of a big comeback for Ballincollig. This is one of those games where if you bought a ticket for the right-hand end, you wouldn't have seen a point yet.
It's a good thing that the spectators can roam wherever they want at Old Belvedere, at Ollie Campbell Park.
Yes, the balcony with quite a few on it, and a few on the terracing too. But the recommendation is certainly to be down to the left-hand side of the field at the moment. Nice kick. Slides through the posts, and that takes the score to 31-7. And Belvedere, well, they get to kick off for only the second time today. But this kickoff will get them into the Ballincollig half. The question being, there is the line out, and you can see the Belvedere hand tapping it back. And then finally, the pressure told as they drove and drove through the forwards and made it down. Delight on the Ballincollig field. Players delighted with the first try. And that will give them some heart for the rest of this half.
Absolutely. I think they might be trying to unleash the 50-22 a bit more often. I wouldn't be surprised. Here we go. Yeah, I think they're going to be putting foot to ball a lot more this half.
Well, they learnt from Belvedere in the first half. And what made that try for Ballincollig was that 50-22 from Connolly.
First knock on by Black.
Two knock-ons mean another scrum, and Ballincollig again have the ball, and they have it in the Belvedere half. Seem to be all sorts of cries of deliberate knock-on and the such like, but there had in fact first been a Belvedere knock-on.
I almost thought I was at a football match for a second there, seeing the hands up in the air.
Wow. So many referees on the sideline. You could almost give out 10 or 15 yellow shirts to spectators jumping up and down.
Absolutely, a lot of excitement on the sideline.
And then again, putting into a scrum that's wheeling. And on this occasion, the referee deciding that Belvedere driving in at the side, and that's why the scrum spun around, not driving straight. Penalty. And after initial thoughts, the ball is handed back to Emma Connolly. Hugely successful with the 50-22 earlier. She'll want to drop this one into touch well inside the 22. And that she does. And again, giving Ballincollig another good attacking position.
Really, really nice touch finder there. They'll be keen to execute this line out. I know the conditions are tough. I wonder if they'll have more luck throwing at the front of the line out.
Well, you'd think on a day like this that's where you'd be aiming most of your throws. Saw in the Six Nations a few times, just that throw to the first person in the line out and back to the hooker, and off they go.
No.
Ball along the back line. Good tackle from Belvedere. Having to reset. Ballincollig again going to the right-hand side. Forwards again driving on, this time with a bit more success. 10 metres into... made. Super tackle. And Belvedere doing some great work there. Rutley it is. Got right in there, hands on the ball, giving the referee the right optics and giving him no option but to award the penalty. And this will give Belvedere the chance to clear their lines.
It was unlucky for Ballincollig. I was impressed that they executed the set piece and they seemed to have good structure and good phase play up until that point.
Okay.
Well, the kick from the penalty, getting closer and closer to that 10-metre line. Belvedere really have found themselves just jammed in their own half this second half. You can see from the touch judge's flag that wind is still quite strong and quite in the favour of Ballincollig.
Come backwards.
Driving on again. The line out quite scrappy, but it comes back on the Ballincollig side. And again, the forwards driving up.
No, on the ball now, White. Yeah. No, not that. Not there.
Along the floor, but nicely picked up by Sinead O'Donnell. And she makes a few yards before presenting it back for Lane. More driving forwards. But in fairness to Belvedere, they're not getting sucked into this. And the back line, the defensive line, is still solid. Calling for more over on that side now. A long pass. Nicely run down the sidelines. And she's only a yard away. Well, she was very unlucky not to make the extra half a metre that she needed to get in herself. But they have Belvedere back on the line now. Tight defence. Driving again, picking up at the back and trying to get over, and this time they do, and it's another try. And there could be some Belvedere minds now. 90% of the game played on the top 2 inches.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, they'll be disheartened now by that big break down the wing by Ballincollig. It appears that they seem to be defending quite high on their own try line. I wonder would they benefit from dropping their body height. Ballincollig just seem to be eating up a lot of yards with their pick and goes on that try line.
Do seem to be getting underneath the Belvedere defenders, which on the 22 might not be too bad, but A, you're risking the high tackle, and B, if the player's getting underneath you, 2 metres out, the chances are they're going to make the line. And that's what happened on this occasion. Ballincollig have now got up to 12. And here we see action from earlier on. And it was just a knock on. And you can see just how much work the Belvedere pack are doing in trying to keep that Ballincollig 8 from dominating with the wind behind them. But a misconversion means it's now 12-0. More delight on the Ballincollig backs as their forwards doing the business. And we see another change now. Kate Balance coming on.
It's amazing how a bit of set-piece accuracy can really spin a game on its head. Just that penalty in the scrum and missed opportunity in the penalty line-out for Old Belvedere's just put Ballincollig back in the game.
And certainly back in the game they are. 2 tries to the good in this second half. Again, you get the feeling this is the space again. Connolly with the big boot, looking for turf and finds it again. Not quite the 50-22 on this occasion. And Belvedere take a quick line out from inside their 22. But the cover, the cover from Ballincollig. Kick chase right up there in time and has put so much pressure on Belvedere. They've coughed up the ball and a scrum. Scrum advantage. Ballincollig have come out like a different team this second half. Amazing what having the ball in your hands will do for your confidence.
Huge. That gain line territory and possession has really served them this second half. And Old Belvedere have given them a few easy outs, choking up possession too easily.
Well, it looks like it's Katie Lade who's gone down. Another injury. And again, this referee's been so good at making sure that any player with an injury, the game is stopped and they get the attention that they require.
It's not mine.
Yes, it's been very clean in that way. He's handled it well. And from the ref's mic anyway, you can hear the explanations very clearly.
Such an advantage having ref link. I think it's one of the great innovations of the game. I mean, rugby is one of the few games where the referee isn't only a ref, but sometimes he's a coach. Don't go in there. Don't touch that. Leave that alone. Get back. These constant instructions that he's giving teams. It's almost a coaching role as much as a refereeing role. But he's done superbly well today.
I think it'll be a huge advantage to improve kind of tackle safety in the game and especially with law changes to lower the tackle height. It is good to have the referee as an extra coach on the pitch to remind players, oh yes, it is below the sternum or wherever it is, wherever you are in the world. So, yeah, it's great to have them.
Is there a soap coming on and she's staying on?
Well, scrum down here. Ballincollig's ball. And again, more pressure for Belvedere to absorb.
The last time you just drifted in, okay, so I need to see shoulders more straight.
But very clever from the Ballincollig side as well. Obviously, the coaches at half-time sort of said to them, you now have the wind with you. Why not make advantage of it? And we've seen Connolly with 2 kicks. One resulted in a try, 50-22, and the other one resulted in exactly where we are now. Another good attacking position for Ballincollig as they look for a 3rd try.
Absolutely taking full advantage. Now, they're a very, very clever team, especially in the likes of their 9, 10 and 15. They definitely know when and where to target.
But it's great to see all the teams in the league moving forward, moving up. And I long for the day when it's not just the 4 teams at the top of Blackrock, Railway, Belvedere and UL. It's good to see the other teams coming up. It looks like Blackrock have fallen off the pace this year, but I believe it's the other teams have stepped up.
I agree. The gap's closing. And I think with the provincial series and the NTS in those different provinces, it's definitely making the underage girls develop a lot quicker, especially in terms of their physical development.
Well, good work being done all round by the clubs. Ballincollig, well, they're the poster side, I suppose, really, for closing that gap on that traditional top 4.
Now you're off the station, 13, not important weight, thank you.
But Belvedere have done well to turn this one over. It gives them a chance to have some possession for a few minutes. That's a long, loud blast on the whistle, and Belvedere decide to run it. Clodagh Dunn, well, we saw her scoring from the halfway line in the first half. Not quite up for the same run against the wind.
Yes, it's got a little bit loose. I think they could have done with keeping ball in hand there and just playing their way up the pitch.
Yeah, there almost needs to be a calm head there, just to say, no, even if we're only making a yard at a time, let's just keep the ball, let's just move up the front. And certainly in games I played with, and I was a scrum half like yourself, sometimes the forwards just decide, no, you're not getting the ball. And that's it. We're keeping this. Every time we give it to you, you do something stupid with it. So we're going to hang on to it, and we're going to make a yard at a time, and it might be slow and ponderous. Sometimes that's the safer way of doing it.
Absolutely, I fully agree with you there. And I think for the game that we have today, and that the forwards are really playing out of their skins, maybe leave it with them, let them look after it.
Another scrappy line out, left and right, and knock on, and it was almost like a pinball machine, but it comes down on the Belvedere side. Ballincollig, well, perhaps illegally trying to get there. Rugby it is, driving again, making another yard or two, and it comes out wide. It's good. Oh, good. Well, it's a full body handoff, I think is the only way of describing that. And the referee deciding that she wouldn't release the ball.
It was only a knock on, then it was advantage over when you got it. Yeah.
So penalty to Ballincollig, and one can expect that. Well, I'm surprised at that. They've decided to run it from the halfway line, and that's given Belvedere a chance to sort of smother the play.
Yes, it looks like there's a few clampers in there looking for a steal, but perhaps they wanted to get themselves a little bit closer to the touchline to get for a better kick.
Well, that ball's just drifting forward, and that was a shame because Ballincollig had done some very good work there and had given themselves the chance of going round the corner, but just drifting on the wind. And that is the one disadvantage of playing with the wind at your back, is any flat pass suddenly becomes a forward pass.
Oh, absolutely. You nearly have to double down on getting it right back and forget about the flat passes when you've got that wind at your back. I think, in hindsight there, they perhaps should have put foot to ball, but there's the wind picking up again. The flags are going mad.
I think from that penalty, even if you weren't looking for touch, just poofed up in the air to land just on the 22 would have been a good progression for Ballincollig.
That sounds like a real English rugby thing at the moment. The England men seem to be using that tactic an awful lot in the Six Nations. I haven't seen it used so much in the women's game yet, but perhaps, you never know, in the coming years.
Well, when it's successful for one team, other teams pick it up quickly. This is a super break, and she keeps going, and the lack of tacklers. This is all alone, just keeping an eye on the player behind her, and makes it to the line, and that's a fabulous try. Well, another long-distance try, and finally, for the ticket holders in the stand down to our far right, they get to see a try.
Something to cheer about. Yeah, it's great break from Nunstead there. She's I can't imagine what her gain line meters are today, but incredible break and good support from Emma Tilley and one or two other Belvo backs there. They were ready for if needs.
Well, again, the backs haven't had too much to do today, so nice to get a chance finally, and that was a good striding run. Took it through the defenders, and once she hit open land, well, nobody was going to stop her before she got to the line. Despairing tackle was only as she was on her way down to touchdown. Super try. 7th try of the season. Now, Donnelly will attempt to add the 2 extra. And it's such a shame because of all the good work Ballincollig have put in the second half. They've scored 2 tries. And then just a couple of missed tackles slipping off the attacking player. Ball comes out, and there's the first missed tackle. And once she hit open field, she looked for some support and then decided, don't need it.
Yeah, really good set piece launch there. Nice steady scrum. Anya Donnelly taking it a step or two, and then Nunstad just straightening it up and taking a hard line there. And nice handoffs.
Right. 38-12. That's 2 tries.
Scoreboard on the ground isn't right. It is now.
Right now.
Referee confirming that the score is 38-12.
On you when you're ready.
As we head into close to the last 10 minutes of this game. Well, that ball's been allowed to bounce too many times. Somebody finally gets there, picks it up, and then running it back. Vanessa Houghton was doing some good tidying up work to a kickoff that, well, it basically got to the stage of rolling.
There we go, as we mentioned earlier. Trying to keep it in the forwards, pick and goes, keep it nice and tight. Work your way up the pitch, be patient.
And they're making good ground with this approach.
Maybe they heard you.
Well, the volume is certainly up on the TVs in the bar. Nothing worse than hearing your own voice. Bad enough that other people have to listen to it. This ball, a bit scrappy. Ballincollig fighting. Certainly have slowed it down. Now boot to ball. And that hanging in the wind, but allowed to bounce again. And the kick chase is up there. Chile again doing a fabulous job. But it's come back and Lane has it at her feet and she hands it out. Again, the Ballincollig forwards now attempting to drive through that Belvedere line. Well, you could hear the Belvedere bench in your headphones absolutely screaming at the ref for a penalty there. And eventually he decided to agree with them. Hannah Wilson taking the quick tap. Make a few yards going down the left-hand side. Comes back out to the open side now. Another good drive again. Just forwards.
Yeah, it's
Forwards deciding they don't need the backs. And unfortunately another knock on. You could see she saw that she wasn't going to get there and tried to pull her hand out of the way of that pass. But unfortunately it touched. It went forward. And it's another scrum. And the referee calls time off. Now, this is a scrum to Ballincollig. My view here would be get it to the number 8's feet, whip it out to the fullback, who seems to have a massive boot, and just hoof it down the field. I feel that the Belvedere backs aren't really able to cover far enough back here.
No, and Ballincollig do have a running threat, so they do have to defend the runner, but yeah, if I was old Belvedere, I'd be sitting in that pocket, just trying as best you can to mitigate that big boot of the Ballincollig 15, Emma Connolly.
Well, Connolly is there. She's in position. But I would say rather than kicking, you see mostly in the men's game now, especially in URC games, there'll be 2 or 3 players in the backfield.
Yes.
Because there's far more kicking. But if the fullback at Tilly has gone right over to the far side and she's just outside the 22, but that means there's a huge amount of grass on this side, the left-hand side for Ballincollig. And I think even a kick, even if you don't find touch, is just going to put so much pressure on the Belvedere players trying to come back.
Yeah. It's a lot of grass to cover. But maybe the wind's blowing down into that corner, I'm not quite sure.
Well, the flag certainly seems to suggest it is going down into that far left corner. Well, such are the plans of mice and men.
Front row's on the ground, we're not going to go quick, yeah?
Well, Belvedere tried to take the quick one. Now, again, they're going to do the same again. Through the hands, Clodagh Dunn driving up into the 22, making good yardage. Replacement props there. Looking to do the same again. They make a few yards. Comes on the open side. This could be a day where the Belvedere outside backs actually start to get a bit chilly.
I think they're getting so much go forward ball out of the forwards here. It's nearly in their best interest to stay clear.
Just let the forwards
That's on your side.
carry on with it.
Yeah.
Pass is being slung out, left, right and centre. And Tilly trying to make it to the line. She's only a yard or 2 short. She's just can't get down. Does so, a yard short.
Good scramble defence from Ballincollig.
Rutley it is. It tries to pick up and go down the blind side. She's repulsed. Defence doing a good job. Doing a good job again. Holding up. Makes it to ground. Another forward driving in. Leslie Ring latching on. Making sure Belvedere retain the ball. And this is what's causing the problem, is being able to retain... Oh, and I say that. Commentator's curse. I apologise profusely. Knock on there, but the referee had already seen a penalty offence. Now, how are Belvedere going to take this on? Are they going to go for the scrum? They are indeed. Being a dominant facet for them, you can see why they've gone for this. The line-out seems to be far more a lucky dip, a lottery. And so at the scrum, they feel very confident that they will get, A, get good ball, or B, will get Ballincollig pushback yards.
Yeah.
Going to Jess. Feel like a dime when that happens. We got about 5 minutes. Just under 5 minutes. I feel it's time. You gotta get the breath to go.
One of the club members there, just getting in the way of the TV screen, and hopefully won't be just obstructing your view. So many options open to Belvedere here. Very steady scrum. Out to the backs. Nice tackle from Ballincollig, but how many people did they commit to that tackle? Are there still gaps on the outside? Belvedere will be keen to find out. Defence coming across quite nicely. Clodagh ships it on. And another try for Belvedere. And after that initial 10-15 minutes of the second half where Ballincollig were putting so much pressure on Belvedere, well, Belvedere seemed to have found the answer.
Lovely play there by Clodagh and Caitlin Doran. I think it was Clodagh who tipped it to Caitlin originally. Caitlin carried straight in the line, and then a nice tip again back to Clodagh, who looped for the try. So nice link-up play. Again, the forwards.
Forwards has been doing a super job for Belvedere. I tell you, when it comes to picking player of the match at the end, I suspect you're going to have nobody with double figures on their shirt that's going to get that accolade.
Unless it's one of the forward replacements, who have made a great impact, I have to say. All of the subs on both teams have done really, really well.
Well, Belvedere have done very well as a team, as a forward unit. As I say, I suspect player of the match would come from that forward unit. Ollie Rutley has been busy around the park. Captain Leslie Ring has tried to lead from the front. But for me, the moment of the match, as a lovely successful kick, takes Belvedere up to 45. Clodagh's try from the halfway line.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Out of nowhere as well. And she left the wingers in her wake.
Do you get the feeling that 10 seconds will be replayed a few times on Clodagh's phone the next week?
Absolutely. It'll be on her CV. It'll be everywhere on her LinkedIn and everything.
Backwards!
If it were me, I would be doing the exact same. I don't have those wheels, mind you.
Yeah, unlikely to be me. But if I'd ever done something like that, I'm sure I'd have been in touch with the Irish Times. With photographs and everything. Rutley again, industrious all the way through this game. Ball comes out to the backs. I don't know who's more surprised. Ballincollig or the backs. Referee saying a high tackle. He's not keen on quick penalties, is he?
No, he's very keen that they take it on the mark as well. I think a lot of referees are quite strict on that now. I think it's a good thing, to be honest.
Well, as players, you learn very quickly what a ref does and doesn't want. Oh, this is tremendous play. Hannah Rutley. Oh, player breaks through. Forwards again, making sure the backs get lovely ball. What are they going to do with it? Oh, Donnelly runs into a crowd. But there's still room on the outside. Is there still an overlap? And Tilly beats one, beats two, and will go in just to the left of the posts.
Excellent finish from Tilly. Good identification by Leslie Ring there as well. I think she stepped in as first receiver after Anya Donnelly carried that last phase, and she just shifted straight out to Tilly and identified the space nicely.
Beautiful play from Belvedere. And that brings up the half century of points. And I have to say, I don't think Ballincollig have played badly enough to concede 50 points, but it's the way that Belvedere have just been constant with the pressure, and they're getting better at, and it's often the difference between good sides and very good sides is that ability to convert pressure into points. Leinster men's team is superb at it. I saw them play the Bulls last week, and that was the difference, was their ability to make pressure into points.
Yeah.
Referee blows his whistle for full time. And here we see that last try. As you say, Donnelly going in. First receiver, ships it out, and then Tilly saw where the gap was. The winger was in no man's land. She had two people outside her to cover. Don't blame her at all. But Tilly saw that the gap was there, went through it, and pulled up the 8th try for Belvedere. And that's a cracking game of rugby. They always say if you're having fun, then it goes past quickly, and it certainly has gone past quickly today.
Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of fun. Great to watch, and great performance by both teams. Again, the scoreline doesn't reflect Ballincollig's impact in this game, but well done to both Belvedere taking their opportunities and being clinical in their 22.
Well, clinical was certainly a word. So that concludes Belvedere's home league fixtures for the 23-24 season. They remain in 3rd place, just a point behind Railway. We don't know how Railway and UA Bows are getting on today. But no, fabulous play for Belvedere. They could do no more. And as I say, certainly my player of the match, just for that moment. It's either Clodagh Dunn for scoring from 30 yards behind the halfway line, I'm sure it is by now. But also that try that was scored by the two forwards when Katie Lake took the ball on to the 5-yard line, popped it up, and Hannah Wilson made it the rest of the way. It's been a superb forward performance by Belvedere.
Huge performance. They'll be absolutely thrilled. I think the first round's on the backs tonight because the forwards definitely did it all today.
Well, you may find that Kathy Murphy will be first to the bar today to congratulate her team. And let's hope that it's a good evening all around. Many thanks to Ballincollig, our visitors today. It was, as I say, I don't think they were as bad as the scoreline suggests. They did well to score those 2 tries. They put Belvedere under a good bit of pressure at the start of the second half, and I think they are making steps forward. Absolutely. I was really, really impressed with their 9 and 15 today in particular. They actually handled the game really, really well. Lovely little runs down the blind side from the 9, Gemma Lane, and beautiful kicks for touch by Emma Connolly. Perhaps if they had more ball and a little bit more territory, you never know, they would have maybe got more points on the board. Yes, it was possession in the second half of that second half that they were lacking, and they just needed the ball at that stage. Emma Connolly, certainly with kick of the game as far as I was concerned, that 50-22, well, that went for miles and it was brilliant. And it led to one of the 2 tries that Ballincollig scored. But yes, a very good game all round. And we'd like to thank you all for joining us today. As our outside broadcast camera comes back inside, and the referee comes up, no doubt to hand back the ref link to somebody. But a good performance from Belvedere, and not a bad season for them either. No, very, very good. Especially with the disruptions between Celtic Challenge and internationals and interpros. Yeah, they've really showed their depth in squad and depth in numbers with young girls coming up and proving themselves at this level. It's been really, really positive, and they're still building, and the future's bright, I think. There's Clodagh Dunn getting the ball just behind the halfway line and outpacing the out half and the right winger. There's not often many second row forwards can say that they've done that, and that's a super try. And I have to say, my personal congratulations for not needing an oxygen tent having run that far, because I certainly would have.
I think I would have retired after that. I would have been like, that's me.
It's never going to get better than that.
I think Clodagh Dunn's argument would be, now I remember my first game with Clodagh back in the day, she was a winger. So maybe that is where it comes from. She was originally in the back three at one stage. So it's come from somewhere.
Just have to get her a shirt with double figures on it. So thank you very much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed this coverage. In fact, we hope you enjoyed the coverage all season. And keep an eye on the Old Belvedere YouTube page, and we'll see how they progress away at UAL Bowls next week, and we'll see how the season ends for them. So thank you very much for joining us, and we will thank Catherine very much for joining us today. Hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
And we also, as usual, would like to thank Niall and his technical expertise. So we'll sign off now and let you enjoy the rest of the highlights of this game.
When I left the house, it was looking